On today's show, let's remember our home, this planet. On Earth Day, it's a time to think about our planet, but also to think about how we connect with it. Marco Pasqua reflects on a powerful moment from his time at the Rick Hansen Foundation, marking the evolution of accessibility, the tech that's helping more people enjoy outdoors, and how Earth Day is really about appreciation, awareness, and action. Let's all do our part.
This is Kelly and Company.
Hi, Kelly MacDonald. Welcome to the program. Email us, if you would, at kellyco@ami.ca. Hope you have your things in mind for your wonderful Earth Day. I know these ladies do. Nazreen Abdel-Majid joining me, of course, on the show, and Amanda Shakarche. Ladies, welcome to the show. Happy Earth Day.
Happy Earth Day.
Very good.
Happy Earth Day.
We have some great conversations today coming up. We were talking about Marcos in a little while. We even have the debut on this show, anyway, of an interesting video Nazreen was in honor of Earth Day. So, Niz, I'll hand things over to you so we can get started with Amanda.
Absolutely. So to help us celebrate Earth Day with the beauty of music and sound, music critic Amanda Shakarchi brings us her Earth Day playlist. But first, we are taking a trip to New York City with two concerts recognizing the occasion. Amanda, what are celebrities doing to raise awareness about Earth Day?
Thank you so much. Happy Earth Day, everyone. So to celebrate Earth Day, New York City is really lighting it up in a way because we have the 55th anniversary concert exhibition at Times Square. So I'm going to focus on the music lineup here. We have a Grammy-nominated artist, Antonique Smith, who is also the Earth Day ambassador this year. And other appearances are Ringo Starr, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Stevie Wonder, who will be joining the concert virtually. The concert honors our planet and amplifies the environmental actions, celebrating the good being done with our Earth. And another concert I want to tell you about is the Broadway Celebrities, or Broadway Celebrates Earth Day. Celebrates and celebrities do sound and are spelled similar, but it highlights theater community's efforts to raise awareness about climate change and creating steps that they can take to achieve this goals. The lineup here is so different musicals. We have Jennifer Newberry from Wicked, as well as Andrew Reynolds from Book of Mormon, who will all be hosting the show. And we have major performances from Jen Gambines, which is they are teaming up with the kindergarten and first grade students from a school in Hell's Kitchen to sing a powerful rendition of Do Re Mi, symbolizing that no matter how old you are, we can all go back to the beginning. And the grand finale is interesting because it'll be the song Keep Marching, led by Shayna Taub. So shining a spotlight on the next generation of change makers.
Wow. This is interesting too to me because, well, I want to go back to first get into more about the Broadway, because what I find interesting is theaters, the marquees, everything that we associate with theater is an energy burnout, right? It has been for years. One of those signs of, hey, Broadway's alive. Look at the big theater signs. Look at everything that goes on, generating a lot of air conditioning use, lights, the big flares. So out of any market where we know that over the years, even just with lights alone, there has been such a push for accommodation when it comes to cool running lights, energy reduction because of how much, because of course theaters, they have to pay the bills too, but let's see that efforts made to cut back on energy, resources. So I kind of think it's an interesting move, and I kind of wonder if that's rolled a little bit into it, or are we so far beyond that now that maybe not? But that's the first thing that jumped into my mind when we think about things on Earth Day, Amanda.
Yeah, that's really interesting that you bring that up because, too, especially with all the cost costume lining and all the little fabrics that go into it. Like what happens to all these costumes once the play is
Yes.
done, you know?
The recycling, Nisreen, right? Like
Recycling.
so much of the stuff in theater can be. I know everybody says, "Oh, we got to hold on to these sets for this, or we got to hold on to that," and everybody has their memorabilia. They always joke about the actors taking so much from a show, how things disappear for their own souvenirs. But when you talk about recycling when the show's done, or finding ways to be energy respectful, what different ways could you have but recycling?
Upcycling those old props, those old clothes into a new play that you're doing, a new movie or whatever it may be. You're reusing it, you're making it into something, a brand new item, but you're still holding on to that old item so you don't have to throw it out. This is upcycling. It's simple and a lot of people are doing it, so progress.
Yeah. Amanda, you wanted to go somewhere else. Another thought in your mind that we should discuss.
Yes.
Yeah, so I want to throw this question to you guys. What are some of your favorite Earth themed songs?
Okay, so this brought me back to grade 5. Because this song, to this day, I know all the lyrics. Okay, it's "What a Beautiful World" by Louis Armstrong.
Oh yeah, what a beautiful world.
Yeah, and his voice is so memorable. Like to this day, I know all the lyrics.
That is wonderful.
So
what
I
an
love
interesting
that song.
choice. Wow, and I was thinking, Amanda, of A Tree Falls in the Forest, Bruce Colburn version. If a tree falls in the forest, does anybody hear? And that was up to that one, and Marvin Gaye / Robert Palmer's. Oh gosh, what's the name of that song from that they both did? But I think number one for me is "Tree Fall in the Forest," the Bruce Colburn. I really like that, and I like the music of it. And it's one of those songs that when I heard it years ago, I actually stopped and listened to the words, which I'm not a big words person with songs. I tend to listen to music, but that one really, really grabbed me.
Well,
you know that
it's
one,
funny
Nisreen?
because I was gonna go with what Nazreen said with "What a Wonderful World" by Louis Armstrong. 'Cause
Really?
I also grew up listening to that song and just being taken by the lyrics and the vocals. And there's also, I like the Shawn Mendes and Camila Cabello did a cover of that too during the pandemic, which I think was really timely, showing
Did they
that at the
actually?
time we were not alone. Yeah.
It's what kills me with you two with that is we're sitting here, both of you, thinking, okay, I don't know if I know that old Bruce Colburn song he's talking about, and What a Wonderful World is so much older than the Bruce Colburn song, right? When its original release, I sit here shocked. What are they coming out with this stuff for? That's like you coming out with Benny Goodman on me.
Yeah, because we used to listen to the song in elementary school.
Yeah, because it came back.
We actually had to make a performance on Earth Day about the song. So like using the song, we needed to like sing it and perform in an assembly. So like it's like tattooed in my brain of all the lyrics of the song. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Very
though.
cool.
So thank you so much, Amanda. This was fun.
Okay,
Thanks
ladies,
for having me.
Yeah, we'll stick around. We'll get into some other continued great conversations. And, folks, we're going to run Nisreen's video a little later on. But always carrying on with the good conversations we shall do before we do that here on the program. But you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Kelly & Co. AMI on Instagram and Twitter. Please, while you're out there, interact with Nisreen. She handles our accounts and always loves to hear from you and some of the questions she puts out there. We'd love your feedback on. Now we're joined by Marco Pasqua, the founder of Meaningful Access Consulting, for a special Earth Day segment that actually takes a personal turn. And as we roundtable things, I think we'll all kind of get in on this, but Marco has a fantastic discussion here ahead for us. Nearly a decade ago, Marco was part of a powerful photo moment during his time at the Rick Hansen Foundation, where he worked on a project called Planet, an early accessibility mapping initiative. Today, he shares how that experience still resonates and how appreciating the planet starts with making sure everyone can access and enjoy it. Marco, Earth Day holds a much deeper meaning for you, especially with that photo taken
does.
almost 10 years ago, man. What was happening?
It does. Yeah, thanks, Kelly. So, I mean, first and foremost, people are probably thinking, what the heck does accessibility have to do with sustainability? But there's a common thread. The photo is actually on the screen for those who are on AMI TV or watching this later. But basically, what it is we're around a large area in Richmond where there's almost like a half globe. And Rick is actually wheeled on the top of this half globe. And all of us who worked at the Rick Hansen Foundation at the time were surrounding him with our arms up in the air. And on the screen, it says, "A world without barriers." And the common thread between accessibility and sustainability is intentionality. And that's really, really important. People often forget that, it's really nice that we have all these parks, all these playgrounds, all these spaces that we like to go to. But if they are not impacted by the barriers of getting to those spaces, sometimes they forget that we don't have the time or the ability to stop and appreciate the small things. And so I wanted to flip this segment a little bit on its head, because I know that with Earth Day, we talk a lot about sustainability and about maintaining the planet and environmental things. And all of those things extremely matter. But if you can't get there to experience those wonderful climates, then what are you really going to be able to do? Right. So I think it's really, really important to highlight that we need to be sustainable in other ways, too. And that includes accessibility.
Yeah. I always think about when you hear about places people go, parks to walk in, woods, forests, and Amanda and Nazreen, I'm sure you guys agree. Are they on a bus route is your first thing that comes to mind. No matter where you live, if you have some kind of form of city transit, town transit, is it accessible? And I know when I moved to London, Ontario from Montreal, and this isn't to suggest that in Montreal we didn't have parks within the city, of course, but we have Springbank Park here, and that was a great thing, just to be able to go get off a bus. I learned my way so much around that park as I lived near it, from my family going to it, to being able to go with my friends and just learning my way around and how accessible that was. And I'd learned about other places that were, I know some people may say, yeah, but that's an inner city park. I don't know, Nazreen, does it matter to you, or do you find that you've had more of the barriers of the other places you would have rather gone to?
No, absolutely. It does matter to me. Not being able to drive really gave me a different perspective on life in general. Like now I walk everywhere. I explore more. I'm more aware of the environment. And I know it sounds cliche and vague, but it's so true. I walk all the time to the grocery store. But I do look at transit. Yeah, absolutely. When we moved to Mississauga, I'm like, okay, is it going to be accessible for me to take the bus from here to work? Is it going to be accessible for me to take the bus to this place? Of course, that matters. It really does. Anywhere that's accessible for me, it really does matter. Yeah. How about you, Amanda?
Yeah, I agree. I think especially like with nature, you want to be able to enjoy in a way where you can, get to the park and find, go on a hiking trail or experience everything. But, before all of that, it's like when we're traveling as blind people, it's how are we going to get from point A to point B? So I think it's definitely a consideration for me.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Marco, do you find it limiting? Obviously, we've talked a little bit about this in some of the areas that you've been able to go, and maybe with a few suggestions, it could be a bit different. But there's a level of being appreciative, obviously, and getting used to kind of our own circumstance.
Absolutely, Kelly. And you've heard all of us here today say this, walkability matters, right? So when we're thinking about the environment and accessibility, it's like if you had more walkable cities, more things that were approachable, people wouldn't be in their vehicles as much. Thereby, we're then saving the environment. And, with Planet that you mentioned off the top, that was essentially the original accessibility Yelp for, the Yelp for accessibility. is what we used to call it, basically. And now, because of Planet, that since that project has since retired and sort of moved on, and the assets that we had for that, a lot of that got moved on to other platforms. But now you have things like Access Now and Pedesting. My buddy Nabil worked on one that's strictly about being able to walk through cities and actually be able to identify barriers along pathways like sidewalks and things like this. So knowing before you leave your home what type of barriers that you may be able to run into, and then being able to crowdsource that and flag that for other people, that's going to help them to plan out their day, to stop and literally smell the roses, like actually appreciate the environment that's around us. And I think that there's something to be said about that, Kelly, with regards to the community around us and being able to appreciate it because there isn't any barriers.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. And if there are the barriers, until they're knocked down, you kind of know where they are. As you say, you can plan your navigating, whether a sidewalk isn't too wide, too rough, or those of us, and I think for myself, I think a bit differently than the exploring I used to do when I could see a little bit more, like Nisreen was mentioning. So, Marco, what does it mean beyond climate talk for you when it comes to Earth Day?
Well, it just means being able to, as a dad, as you all know, I have a young daughter, Stella, who's 4 years old, and I want her to know that it's the little things that matter. Like, she does go around with me and see when there's garbage on the ground. She says, "Daddy, why did somebody leave garbage on the ground?" And she wants to go around and pick everything up. So not only am I able to go to places like inclusive playgrounds and things of this nature with her and play alongside her, but I can have those conversations with her as we're headed to those locations. And so, the more that I'm able to kind of be in environments where I can kind of bridge the gap for my daughter, and understanding that we all have a responsibility to help our planet, to appreciate it, to have gratitude towards these things. And she sees how that ties into dad's work in accessibility, because if it's barrier free, if it's trash free, I'm actually able to get in there and play with her in the playground. Sometimes for a child, that's all it takes, is something as simple as, wow, dad can push me down a slide. So that's why I get all this imagery in my mind, Kelly, because people sometimes just go, oh, Earth Day, that must mean recycling. But it's so much more than recycling. It's about interconnectivity. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you're right.
Thanks, Nesrin.
Well, and the safety bit of it, like you said, going down a slide or doing so. I remember as a kid, you'd hear the U.S. commercials of "Give a hoot, don't pollute," and that really, for me, when I'd go and play, I remember my parents, don't touch that, that's dirty, because you were more inclined, when you finished your soda, walking along after you stopped to get ice cream and you got something else, you're walking with your napkin. You didn't look for garbage when I was a child. You just kind of tossed it out. Oh, there must be someone following behind that'll clean that up. You never really thought of it until these, hey, come on, find a garbage receptacle, put your thing, and that started to grow. And I know I've talked to people who do that stuff now just like that, and they couldn't even imagine it. You what? And sure, there were laws about polluting back then. They weren't supposed to do it, but it was one of those least enforced laws, I had to say. Amanda, yourself, I mean, how many times you're walking or been somewhere, oh, what's this? Oh, it's garbage.
Oh my gosh, so many times. Like, especially when I'm doing like orientation and mobility on garbage day, the amount of like garbage trucks or just random garbage items my cane would pick up. Yeah.
And you start
So
swatting them around.
Gum is the worst as a wheelchair user.
Oh, God.
Oh,
I can
God.
imagine.
Can you imagine all people spitting their gum on the ground and it gets stuck in my tires? Things like this. Like it's crazy to think about. And I remember there was an episode of that show Mad Men many years ago because it's based in the 60s, and they're all having a picnic outside. And when the family finishes the picnic, they literally just pick their blanket up, dust the blanket off, and then leave and discard all the garbage from their picnic. They just leave it on the hill and walk away, to your point.
I find that so disrespectful.
And it's so weird. Well, disrespectful. That's not just the TV gimmick of everybody leaves their place and doesn't lock it up. Anyway,
we've all seen it in real life, and I've seen people do this in real life, and I find it so disrespectful and disgusting. And like, do better. Like, teach your kids better at this point, for real.
It's really crazy, isn't it?
Absolutely. I want to hop back really. Can I, Kelly, 1 second?
Oh,
I
yeah.
want to hop back to one thing. You all mentioned What a Wonderful World. That was one of the first storybooks that I read to my daughter because they had it as a cardboard book for my daughter, and so I remember, and that flashback memories just before the intro. That's not anything I planned, but to know that that was two of your favorite songs, and that was one of the first books as a child that I read to my daughter in his lyrics. I mean, it's full circle now, right?
Wow, that's
Yeah,
incredible.
it is. The lyrics are
That's
so beautiful, honestly.
Yep. And doable at any
Yes.
time. And people saw it back then. We know it's, again, our enforcing of it. Individual impact, Marco, do you want to touch a little bit on that when it comes to inclusion with everything, whether it comes to accessibility, of course, or anything like that? Let's talk about trails that way.
Yeah, so absolutely. So, I mean, I think that if you're out there in the environment and you're doing your thing, so you don't have to always be out there submitting reviews for things like Access Now or
Right.
Investing, but, it's the little things that matter, right? So we're all connected in these spaces. And when we build spaces and communities that welcome everyone, that's really us honoring Earth Day and honoring each other, right? So, in your local sense, if you go to your community center, if you're noticing inequity when it comes to accessibility, say something to somebody, be that voice. If you see a trail that you're really enjoying, but all they have to do is maybe remove a few tree roots or maybe maintain and provide maintenance a little bit more. How much easier, Kelly, would it be for a white cane user to be able to navigate an outdoor trail just because somebody was able to clean the shrubbery or the brush away, and that made all of the difference. But people just have to stop for a moment and think about how these spaces might impact somebody outside of themselves and outside of their own abilities. And so if you do, it's like the old adage, Kelly, if you see something, say something. If you feel something, say something about how you can make those changes. And we can impact this on an individual level. We just have to stop and start actually caring about how it might be impacting other people in our community.
And Marco, making it a priority. Who hears it says, oh, okay, that needs to be done. I've been tandem biking and have had to be careful of trees we're going around because somebody's come along or the wind's broken a branch and it's hanging out there. And there's hundreds of people going by every day. And I'm sure half of us get the idea, if I report that, they'll get to it eventually. So eventually somebody will be in the park here from city maintenance and they'll take care of it. But like you say, it's a simple, make a call, send an email, so easy to do, takes 20 seconds nowadays. And that branch could be gone in just a little more than 20 seconds if we do it. Marco, thank you.
Thanks so much. Thank you to everybody here today. And as an ending reminder or ending remark, inclusion is sustainability and it's environmental stewardship, right? So think about it from that mindset, right? If we're being inclusive, we're being sustainable, and we're making sure everyone can get involved. So thanks, everyone. Have a fantastic rest of your Earth Day.
Yeah, take care of yourself.
Thank you.
We'll be talking to you in June when Marco's back. Every step we take is that step towards unity with each other and with the planet we call home this Earth Day. Let's remember, inclusion is environmental stewardship. As Marco was saying, we all got to be a part of that, ladies. Tremendous, tremendous words that he had for us that you guys threw in there with your comments too and our life experiences. I find it, Amanda, so incredible when we think of walking, just being able to go somewhere and not having to be so fearful as a blind person where I touch. And I know there's other things that shouldn't be in our environments that pose dangers, but we just can always dream for that, being able to reach out, touch, explore stuff and use our senses and enjoy safely.
I definitely agree with it.
Yeah.
I feel like it became harder these days because of how much construction there is, especially in Mississauga. Like, I can relate to that. There's constant construction everywhere, and it's hard to kind of identify the barriers there unless you actually pass through that area and you listen in. So it did become harder, yeah.
It really does. It really does. Now, Nazreen, you did a video. We're going to run it here before we exit the show. This is kind of cool. You did this a couple of weeks ago for Earth Day. Let's take a watch of this video, folks.
Happy Earth Day, everybody. Every April 22nd, people all around the world come together to celebrate our planet and to take action protecting it. And the best part is that anyone can get involved. Today, we share 5 simple, accessible ways to go green, because sustainability is for everyone. Let's get started. Tip number 1, compost your food scraps. Don't toss those food scraps in the garbage. Pile them up in your yard and let Mother Nature eat them up. Tip number 2, digital decluttering. This doesn't require you lifting a finger, just some swipes and some clicks. Decluttering your digital life means deleting old emails, files, and unused apps. It reduces data storage needs and lowers the energy used by servers. And the best part is, it makes your device run faster too. Tip number 3, use non-toxic products. Many household cleaning products contain chemicals that aren't just bad for the planet, they also can trigger allergies, asthma, or skin sensitivities. Switch to non-toxic biodegradable cleaning products that are safer for both you and the environment. Tip number 4, use paperless billing. Technology isn't exactly better for the environment, but at least you're not cutting down a tree. Many companies offer accessible digital statements that are screen reader friendly or available in larger text. Tip number 5, recycle and reuse. Recycling should be easy for everyone, but recycling isn't just about what goes in the bin. It's also about reusing. Upcycle old clothes, donate electronics, every little action adds up. Earth Day is about progress, not perfection. Even small changes can make a big impact on our planet. So, pick one of these tips and make them your own. And if you want more ideas on how to live sustainably, head over to AMI's YouTube page and check out our Earth Day playlist. Happy Earth Day, everyone! And remember, sustainability is for everyone.
Absolutely wonderful, Nisreen. Some great comments there, and some of the things we've talked about. Amanda, briefly before, what's your message for Earth Day?
Let's make this world a safer and cleaner and more accessible place.
Okay, Nisreen, do we need more from you? You said so much in the video, but anything in closing?
I'm going to repeat that sustainability is about progress, okay? Earth Day is about progress and not perfection. You can't just, I'm going to repeat this, sorry. Earth Day is about progress and not perfection. I'm losing my voice. But read that line and read it over again, because that's the main thing that you need to get in your head. Yeah, for sure.
And I think for me, it's that one little thing, like Nisreen said, just pick something, do one thing. You know, we all think the corporations have to do it, that our little attempt is nothing. We all make a point. We
don't have to do it all.
Something.
It's baby steps, right? It's baby steps.
And we're not going to all get it back and correct everything in 1 year, 6 years. It's going to take time, but every little move, it doesn't take much. Just do one thing. Ladies, thank you very much on this Earth Day. The best to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Remember to check out our podcast from your platform of choice, and also subscribe to our YouTube page. We'd appreciate it. Give us a rating and review if you would on the podcast, please. On our next show, Adam Lancheth, an international visually impaired contemporary artist from Toronto. His hand-painted artworks reinterpret pop art using washes of diluted acrylic paints, creating compositions that reveal the layers of messaging and content we're exposed to every day. We'll learn more on our next show on his work process. We're waving at you. Take care.
Thanks for tuning in to Kelly and Company. Follow us on all social media, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more.